Hi YouTube, it's Queen Pam Elon QP here. I have a Gemini that I just got. I also have a Vagabond 2. So this is version 2 that's all metal. I have an old Ebosser that's no longer made. And I have the only manual machine that will be in this video, a Spellbinders Platinum, the big one. And we are going to compare them today and see how they all work. This one is the largest, I think, in that it will, let's get a ruler. Here's the ruler. The opening is right around 9 inches. The opening here is about 6 1/4. The opening on the Ebosser is about 8 and a little more than 3/4. The Spellbinders plate is about 8 3/4. So the biggest one out of these is the Gemini. So if you're looking for big, there you are. The problem with the Gemini is it will not take steel rule dies. All of the rest of the machines will take steel rule dies. The Ebosser will even take the Fisker Fuse dies if you buy enough platforms. So I'll be back and we'll look at how these stack up. What we're going to do first is emboss. Okay, so we are going to emboss a Spellbinders 3D embossing folder. Off camera, I tried to emboss a Sizzix 3D embossing folder, and no combination of plates that I could find with what I have would feed through the machine, and I didn't want to break it. So here we go. One of their own 3D embossing folders, Rose 35. And emboss beautifully. So next we will try the competition's regular embossing folder, and the sandwich is supposed to be an embossing folder and a cutting plate. And I can tell you right now, that's not thick enough. I tell you that didn't emboss. So let's try the 3D embossing plate. And that's not going to work either. So let's try let's sandwich it between 2 cutting plates. And that won't work. So the next plate I'm going to try is their regular embossing plate. And that is what you would need to emboss the competition's embossing folders. And as you can see, I am struggling to get that through, and evidenced by the loud pop. But it did emboss well. So if you have great arm strength, the Platinum might be a machine that you could use for embossing. Next up, we'll test the Ebosser. Okay, so we are set up to look at the Ebosser, and first we're going to do the Crafter's Companion Standard Thickness Embossing Folder, and it says DC Embossing Folder Material Platform A. That's what we have here. We're going to feed it into the machine. have it, and it worked beautifully. Notice I've marked it because we're going to compare them all at the end. Now this one is the thick one, and they did not have, at the time I made my instructions, I'm reading them to make sure I'm correct. Embossability, embossing folders, okay. So, you're going to have D on the bottom, a shim, which is the shim. Well, that's platform B, a shim. Don't seem to have a shim, so we'll use this as a shim. Platform B, which is what I thought the shim was. B is there. Let's get ready to say B and a shim. Embossing folder and material. And then C. We'll see if it goes. And it did not like that, so it spit it out. So we will take out the shim. Give it a shot. So it doesn't need the shim. And it did indeed emboss it. So this one beats over the Spellbinders because it will at least, there is a combination that will do these. So I'm pretty certain that we might need, for the Spellbinders, to put the shim back. Because it's a little thinner than that scissors. And the Ebosser was also able to do Spellbinders. So that's it for the Ebosser's embossing. Okay, so we are starting to test embossing folders on the Vagabond. This is the Vagabond 2, and I have a multi-purpose platform open to tab 1. I have 2 well-loved cutting plates, and if they don't go through, we will try it again with a new pair. Now you do have to hold the button down on the Vagabond in order to get it to work. But our standard embossing folder has embossed beautifully. Let's try the 3D embossing folder. At the time that I bought my machine, there was no 3D embossing folder instructions, I don't think. Or maybe this is it. So we will try it with 2 cutting plates, and if the Vagabond doesn't like it, we will try something else. And I can tell you right now, it doesn't like it with my bent up plates, so I will get a pair of flat plates. One moment. These are relatively more flat, So we'll give them a shot. Let's see how they go. Straighten this back up in the folder. That's a no. So we will try it with one. I think what we'll do is close all of the platforms and try with one. Nope. Doesn't like that. No platforms. Give a shot with no platforms. And that embossed, but not as deep as some of the others. So how about one platform? We'll run it back through, give it just a tiny tad more pressure. Yeah, I think that's going to be the way to go for the 3D embossing folders in the Vagabond. Now it's on par with the others. And to try Spellbinders, since they're pretty close in thickness, let's try that same sandwich. But I think for the Spellbinders, I'm going to need to close both platforms. And there you go. The Vagabond has embossed it as well. Next up, the Gemini. So the results are in. And for Spellbinders, we'll start with this embossing folder, which was a Sizzix 3D embossing folder. By far, it's the thickest embossing folder of the ones that we tried. And from what I can see, actually in my hand, the Gemini beat out everybody. It's embossed the deepest. And I'm doing that by touch as well as by feel. A Vagabond comes close, but the Gemini is a clear winner for the Sizzix brand. For the Spellbinders brand, it wasn't in the first test because it would not take this folder with any combination that I was comfortable cranking it through with. The next one is just a standard embossing folder by Crafter's Companion, and Spellbinders did well. Ebosser did well. The Vagabond did well, but the Gemini embossed the deepest. So I would say that all of the machines handled the Spellbinders single-sided 3D embossing folder well. So, standard embossing folder. Oh, I'm sorry, that was the standard embossing folder, not the 3D Spellbinders. Here's the Spellbinders. So the Spellbinders looks like that. Ebosser did not do as well. Yep, they look pretty similar to the Spellbinders machine. but the Gemini is the deepest. The Gemini was the deepest, even over the Vagabond. You can see that really well in this area in real person, in real life. So again, the Gemini is beating all the other machines as far as embossing goes. So my next test, we will do a really finicky cutting die and see what happens. This is the really finicky cutting die that I have. As you can see, it is very detailed, and it is a one I got from Asia, so it's not a standard American cutting file, and I was pretty much just going to trash it because it really doesn't cut well. So I already know that it doesn't cut in any of the machines that I have over there, so we are going to see if it will cut in the Gemini, and if it does cut in the Gemini, kudos. So I'm going to tape it in place so that it can stay and not move around. If I can find my tape, it's on the Vagabond. Because that was my machine of choice. Well, I can't find the end of the tape. So, there we go. This is micro pour tape. So I'm going to tape. And you can see I tried to add extra pressure to the die by adding painter's tape. So painter's tape did not help it. In multiple layers, it did not help it. The paper that I cut on and that I use for all of the demos today is Paper Trays Stamper Select. So I am going to start this one with the standard cutting guide that you do, which is just the 2 plates and a shim. And, oops, that didn't count because I had the shim on the wrong side of the die. So glad it didn't cut and cut up my shim. And I can tell you right there that nothing happened. So then I'm going to put the metal shim in there. And also the magnetic shim. And we'll send it back through. That sounds nice and tight. And it looks like I have a winner. So yep, it has cut through. Just hitting it over my garbage can to release some of the papers, and they are readily falling out, so this is a winner. Gemini cuts better than the Vagabond. With the metal spacer, it would not cut this die. So there you have it. If you were on the fence about whether or not you should get a Gemini, get a Gemini. Always, I leave you in the hands of the Creator.